You'd think I understand by now how unethical cloning can be after watching 7 seasons of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Then I saw Mickey 17. And I'm still trying to come to grips with what I witnessed. Yo, my name is AJ, and if you enjoy thinking deeper about movies, TV, and anime, you're in the right place. Have you ever wished that you could be in more than one place at once? Of course you have. Who wouldn't love the ability to shirk some of those tedious tasks to, someone else? Or better yet, another version of yourself. So you could, just chill or maybe watch some YouTube or anime. Especially when life be lifing. Well, in Mickey 17, they upped the ante. It made the concept of immortality a whole lot more complicated. Question is, should you even give Mickey 17 a chance? Short answer is yes, because Mickey 17 is an obscurely funny movie. I say that because even though I actually enjoyed watching the movie, Mickey 17 is pretty weird.
I don't mean like funny haha. I mean funny weird.
I had very high hopes going into this movie, based on it being Robert Pattinson's next big project since, Batman.
I'm vengeance.
But especially after seeing the initial trailer in theaters, it looked like it had the potential to be a new cult classic. But I mean, you can say that about most movies nowadays, even though in most cases it never really pans out.
Tell me about it.
So where does that really leave us? And who is this movie really for? The first answer is pretty simple. Unfortunately for Mickey 17, it came up just short of entering that classic sci-fi movie status. Instead, it'll probably end up being more of a cult classic than anything else, which is not a bad thing. The second part of the question is where things get a little tricky. Reason being, Mickey 17 has an acquired taste to it. And no, I'm not talking about the kind of acquired taste you would need to try one of Tony Colletti's character's sauces.
Here, try my sauce. Here you go. Tell me what you think.
Ew! Dude! What the
Also, I've never seen somebody so obsessed with sauces. I mean, this is supposed to be a sci-fi thriller, not Hell's Kitchen.
Do me a favor. Get out. Yes, yeah.
But when I say acquired taste, I'm speaking more to this movie kind of being a little bit out there. Some might even say that it has an eclectic nature to it. That being said, the next question you might be asking is, how does Mickey 17 stack up against the general public? After the release, during the making of this video, Rotten Tomatoes has it listed as certified fresh. And surprisingly, the tomato meter and the popcorn meter are pretty close, meaning in the middle at about 75%. Even still, I could definitely see the reaction to this movie being a mixed bag. I expected it to be more of a love it or hate it type situation. Personally, I'm more on the love side of the argument, but at the same time, I'm not fully committed, for the simple fact that I left the theater still with so many questions.
I have so many questions!
But I also left wanting to see the movie again. Granted, I know there are probably some things that I missed, just due to the simple fact of how much I was actually actively thinking about Mickey 17 as a concept.
Why?
See, Mickey 17 conceptually is already great on his own. Just based on a pitch alone, I can see why any studio would want to greenlight this movie. Just think about it for a second. Imagine you got hired as a disposable employee, which basically makes you a clone for hire. Then they send you on random missions to basically save humanity from extinction.
You geeking, bro? I'm good.
Bro.
I'm good, bro.
Don't worry, everything will be fine. But you're probably wondering, what does that even look like?
That's a good question. I don't know.
First things first, we're getting on a spaceship and we're going to travel to another world. But for that to happen, they need to make sure that, it's safe. And by they, I mean a team of scientists who are here to facilitate the work. And by facilitate, I mean they're basically going to treat you like a human guinea pig. And there's no need to worry, because if anything does go wrong or right, depending on who you ask, they can just print you out again with all your memories intact. Essentially, you just became immortal. Sounds like a great job, right?
Absolutely not.
And then you add a star like Robert Pattinson to the top of the call sheet? There's no way they can mess this up, right? I mean, in theory, this movie should be printing money. Plus, who hasn't had the desire to clone themselves before? The old saying goes, 2 is better than 1, right? And it's not like the idea of clones are a new concept, but Mickey 17 puts its own spin on it.
Once you die, we'll print a new version of your body.
Cloning technology has been explored and expressed in many different ways, in film and TV. Whether it was displayed in a more scientific style like on Camino in Star Wars The Clone Wars, or as a superpower in something like Invincible. The big question for Mickey 17 is, how do we make our version unique? The answer is quite simple. You make the cloner look and sound like a janky printer. Genius. Oh, and yeah, you spend the first 30 minutes of the movie dehumanizing the main character.
But wait! There's more!
They basically said, what if we take away the selfish aspect of being able to, clone yourself out of it? And let's make a movie about sacrifice and empathy, but spin it as a push for the advancement of humanity.
It's a trap.
And by sacrifice, I mean, you have to be pretty much okay with dying.
Yeah, nah.
Enter the Expendables program. I mean, bro, you have to be pretty crazy to subject yourself to something like that. Or desperate, which is where we find the main character of this story, Mickey Barnes. And desperate he was. Desperate to get off of Earth because of a business venture gone bad. And by bad, I mean you got a crazy loan shark after you and they have an affinity for chainsaws. Nothing too crazy. Thus, Mickey 17 was born. Or should I say printed.
Every time you die, we learn something new and humanity moves forward.
Now, the Expendables program is one thing, but this movie really makes you ponder the socio-political aspect of whether or not disposable employees, or cloning rather, should even be a thing, if the technology ever existed. Because the way that they dehumanized Mickey throughout the movie was a crazy thing to watch.
I'm sure you're used to it by now, but what's it feel like to die?
For me, it was really just the lack of care the scientists showed during all the different quote-unquote jobs.
Oh, wow! Did you see that?
The only thing that mattered to them were the results. They no longer saw Mickey as a real person anymore, because if anything went wrong, or like I was saying earlier, right, they could just print out another one.
Same, but different. But still same.
And look, I just did it right there in real time. Like, I just turned him into a thing, not a person. By signing that contract, he basically lost all agency and became a tool to use at their discretion.
You're applying to be an expendable?
Yeah.
You read through the whole application.
Yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check.
Okay, if you made it this far in the video, you clearly love thinking deeper about movies, TV, and anime. Comment Jeepers Creepers so I know you a true superstar. Okay, quick question. Basically same topic. How much would you need to get paid to go to space?
I'm not doing this.
Obviously not to become a disposable employee making minimum wage like our boy Mickey, because obviously in real life who's finna do that, but just to go to space in general. How much are you charging? I mean, we just seen Katy Perry and them come back from somewhere. I'm not here to speculate, but what kind of NIL, draft this pass, guarantee would you need to do something like that? To go to space for a certain amount of time and then come back? Let me know in the comments. I will be checking as always. Now back to the review. Where Mickey 17 really takes a turn is when we get introduced to multiples, because prior to that, the setup for this movie was actually pretty good. I was invested almost immediately. Plus, using Mickey 17 to narrate this whole wacky scenario was comedy.
Why aren't you dead?
Now, waking up to another version of yourself is already jarring, but to jump straight to it's either you or me mindset, frame one, is wild to me. That speaks to the level of programming and belittling that Mickey faced on a day-to-day basis. I mean, to come to that conclusion to be the only solution is crazy work, and it's difficult to come to grips with as a viewer too.
I'm not you. I'm not gonna live like you. I'm gonna kill you.
But don't worry, they don't spend too much time on it, because Mickey 18 was a menace in more ways than one. And if you've seen Challengers, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if I was to describe Mickey 17 using one word, it'd be layered. Because beyond the jokes and the freaky weird parts of this movie, there are some really thought-provoking nuggets at the core of it. some they dive deeper into, and some they don't. But regardless of which one grabs your attention, Mickey 17 will have you scratching your head wondering, why did they choose to include this or leave out that?
Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline.
And if you haven't guessed by now, I'm talking about the creepers. The roly-poly-like creatures that inhabit the planet, suitably named Niflheim. Fun fact, Mark Ruffalo's character, Kenneth Marshall, named the planet Niflheim, and I finally played through God of War Ragnarok on live stream. So if you want to see me get bodied by berserkers and Thor, check out the live tab here on my channel, or just stop by the stream and we can talk movies. I just thought it was a crazy coincidence that I bring it up. But to get back on track, Mark Ruffalo was pretty good in this movie, even though his character was just the worst. On purpose, by the way. I want to make that clear, because one thing that Mickey 17 proved to me was that not only does Mark Ruffalo have range, but so does Robert Pattinson. Even though sometimes he had Mickey 18 go full Batman.
Are you afraid to die? Kinda, yeah.
I really enjoyed most of the characters and the acting in this movie. For me, it's the direction of the story that causes this movie to stumble a bit. See, I thought Mickey 17 was going to be more about how do we keep the fact that we're multiples a secret, versus things getting political over some space roly-polies. And before I get cooked in the comments, I'm not saying that we shouldn't get political over space roly-polies. All I'm saying is that's not where I expected us to go.
You are wrong! All of you are wrong!
Plus, the creepers aren't the only socio-political topic that gets screen time in this movie. So you could definitely say they were found in good company. It was just a hard left I was not expecting to make at the end of this movie. But if we're keeping it a buck, the creepers were the key to Mickey rediscovering his own worth again. You know, outside of the self-preservation side of things. That goes for Mickey 17 and 18. Whether it was compassion or pity, something changed. And that change would change the course of the entire movie.
Oh my God, something's happening.
Granted, it's not the way that I would have gone about it, but hey, I could see what they were trying to do.
It's not about you.
Now, one thing that I haven't addressed yet is the fact that Mickey 17 was actually based on a book. Mickey 7 to be exact. So there are only so many creative liberties that one can take before flying too close to the sun and losing the core of the story. So personally, I always like to offer a little bit of grace when it comes to these types of situations, because even though I didn't read the book, I can see why most of the time books end up being a little bit better than the film. Something simple as creepers somehow always end up looking better in our imagination than on screen. It's the little nuances found in books that sometimes get lost in translation. But if you have read the book, let me know in the comments. How does Mickey 17 stack up? If you want to hear a more in-depth conversation about Mickey 17, check out the podcast we did on the Why I'm Geek show here on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. But to bring things back full circle, even though I'm not the biggest fan of where the plot took us, I can't deny that they did a good job telling it, or should I say showing it.
Multiples.
For as whimsical of a movie this was, Mickey 17 really turned it on for the finale. The writing may have been on the wall for how things were going to end, but those monologues was hitting. If you ask me, Naomi Ackie stole the show, so to speak. In those final moments, she really brought home the idea of cherishing life even in death. Seeing Nasha in those flashbacks really hit different in the moment. Almost makes you want to shed a tear.
Are you crying?
No, I'm not crying, okay? I'm allergic to jerks.
And sure, it's true that most of the scientists may or may not have been a little heartless, but that doesn't mean that we should be. So to be able to see the other side of it really hit home, which is also why I think that it was important that this movie was called Mickey 17 versus just Mickey 7 like in the book. Seeing Mickey get bodied that many times can do a number on the brain, because they kind of desensitize us to the fact that Mickey is still a human being with feelings, and almost more importantly, he still has his memories. So he remembers everything, even if he can't always express it. It's still there. And you know what they say, it's easier to forgive than to forget. It doesn't matter that he can just get reprinted. It's not like we're playing Call of Duty and, it's as easy as you respawn and you go again. That memory part of it is where things get really tricky. And yes, we are all aware that he signed the contract and he didn't have the best background, but he still deserved to be treated like a real person. And sure, this movie is funny and, you know, kind of out there, but it's the subtle messaging that makes this movie good to me, which is why I gave Mickey 17 an 8 out of 10 G-File score. But other than that, that's all I got for Mickey 17. If you enjoyed this review, here's another one that we think you might like. But before you go, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another one of my weekly reviews. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.